A boost for Gareth Southgate in England. Luke Shaw has trained today ahead of the final Euros group game against Slovenia tomorrow. For more on this, I'm delighted to say we can join our chief reporter, Kaveh Solhekol. Always good to see you, Kaveh. So great to see Shaw as well training. But do you think it's come too late for him with the match just over 24 hours away?
Well, I think it would be a major surprise if he was to start the game tomorrow. He's been injured for quite a while. I think since February he's had injury problems. He hasn't been able to train properly. He's been on an individual training program with the England squad. I think sometimes when he's able to, when that personal training program allows him to train with the other members of the squad, that's what he does. But the last time we heard from Gareth Southgate, what was it, 4 days ago, he said that he felt that Luke Shaw was on track. So I think maybe there's an outside chance, and here I'm just speculating that he may get some minutes tomorrow, but certainly it would be a surprise if he was to start. But I think England need him to be back as soon as possible, because it's well documented that he's the only recognised left back in the squad. Although Kieran Trippier has done well when he's come in, he's not a natural left back. I think England would look a lot more settled with Luke Shaw in that position. And I think going forward, it looks almost certain that England are going to get to the knockout stages. I just feel that they need Luke Shaw back to give them the best possible chance of progressing as far as possible in this tournament.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that you feel almost certain that they're going to get to the knockout stages. They can secure top spot in their group with a win tomorrow night. How important is that they do that then?
I think psychologically it may be important. Obviously, it'll affect who they get and where they will be playing in the round of 16. But I know it sounds like a bit of a cliche, but sooner or later you're going to have to play the best sides in Europe if you want to become European champions. So they are going to have to overcome sides like Germany sooner rather than later. Excuse me. But I think the most important thing tomorrow is not necessarily the result, although of course that is always important. I think it's the performance, because so far England, even though they're top of the group, even though they've got a win and a draw, the performances really haven't been inspiring. And there was such a feel-good factor coming into the tournament, apart from that defeat against Iceland. A lot of people in Europe, supporters here, were convinced that England were the favourites for the tournament. But having watched them twice, I don't think they are the best side in this tournament, but they do have one of the best squads. And I think it's really important that Gareth Southgate gets his starting 11 right tomorrow night, and we have a better balanced and more effective England side that presses better and also keeps possession better.
Yeah, I guess they might feel they're growing into the tournament. You'd like to hope so, potentially.
Yeah.
Look, we heard Harry Kane, didn't we, come out in defence of the criticism from the media yesterday. Now, Declan Rice is going to face the media later, isn't he? He's also had some strong words as well. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I think he's spoken to ITV, and there have been some clips and quotes that have been released on social media. And judging by what he says, although we haven't seen the full interview, I guess we'll see the full interview tomorrow. Judging by what he says, he seems to be echoing the words and sentiments of Harry Kane yesterday. I thought it was significant that Harry Kane was put up to speak to the media when it wasn't match day -1, when you normally hear from the captain. I think the squad wanted to send out a message, and Harry Kane obviously wanted to send out a message as well. And I think the message is that, look, we don't mind being criticised. We expect that. That is par for the course when you play for England. But sometimes perhaps the criticism steps over the line, maybe. And also, I think they were a little bit hurt by the fact that some of the criticism was coming from former England players who had worn the England shirt, who know how much pressure that entails. So I think there's a little bit of annoyance with that happening. But having said that, I don't want to blow it out of proportion, because every single member of that squad and the backroom staff and Gareth Southgate know what to expect. I think, on the other hand, watching and looking from the outside in, perhaps we should take into account more the fact how difficult it is to win games in tournaments like this. Sometimes these games look easy, but when you're playing against Denmark, you're playing against the best players in Denmark. You're playing in a stadium that is full of their fanatic fans. Half the stadium is full of Danes supporting their side non-stop. Those Danish players are playing for their shirts. They're playing for their country. They're very good players. If they weren't good players, Premier League sides wouldn't be buying them. So I think perhaps it'll be a little bit easier against Slovenia than it was against Denmark, because on paper they are not as good a side as Denmark. But I think the most important thing is we need an improved performance from England. Otherwise, it'll be very difficult to see them winning the Euros for the first time ever.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Thank you very much, Kaveh, as always.